Okay, listen up, family. I think we have it, and it is a precise night that we should watch, and it is the night between May 31st and June 1. So that is the highest rapture watch that I actually have ever seen. So that's why the full night I'll have a stream from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Jerusalem time, from twilight to twilight, and I'll go through all this evidence in this presentation. And no matter from which point of view you come towards this, there is a convergence. So please, if you don't have time, just watch the summary. I'll put this timestamp to the description that summarizes everything. If you want to know more, you can jump to in the video to check the detailed slides. So in this presentation, I'll cover all the feasts of the Lord from the springtime, but in this Exodus we also covered the feasts from the autumn time. And why is that? Because in the menorah, the almonds are in all these candles. The awake tree, the almond tree, the awakened people, the people that are awake and watching, they are in all these candles in here. Then the whole menorah is an awake tree. This idiom is fulfilled as well. And there is some convergence to those dates as well, but now let's get to it. Let's start with the Shavuot and Pentecost, because this is the next feast that most of the watch community is looking at with the 1 month delay, and I'll come back to that later. But in starting with the Omer count, when do you start the Omer count? That is what sets when you will have the Shavuot or Pentecost, and they are a bit different, because Pentecost is always on a Sunday, Shavuot is not necessarily always on a Sunday, depending on where you start the count. So what does the Bible say? The Bible says in Leviticus 23:15, "And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath." And there are three interpretations of this. Let's start with the Pharisees, because this is the current Jewish method. They say that the Passover, the 14th day, is itself a Sabbath, so the Omer count starts on the next day, 15th day, and this always lands on 6th of Sivan. Sadducees always await until the weekly Sabbath is passed. So if the 14th is on a Tuesday, they will still wait until the end of Saturday, and then the next day on Sunday they will start the count, and this is why their the Shavuot always lands on a Sunday, and this is the closest connect with the Christian Pentecost. But this does not land on any specific Jewish date. The last one is the Essenes. So they will wait for the week of Pesach, so the Passover week, to end, and then the following week they will wait until the weekly Sabbath is passed and start the count on the Sunday. And in their calendar, this always lands on the 15th Sivan Hebrew date. And this year, my brothers and sisters, it is the 31st of May. Moving on to first fruits and sun aspects. So this appointed time is also covered. Sun entered Taurus, so the second sign. So the Ziv would start on the 14th of May. And if you take 14 days from there plus 3, you will get 17 days. So 14th of May plus these 17, you come to the 31st of May, which would make this date the first fruits of Passover too. Additionally, with the sun aspect, we did have the solar eclipse on the 17th of February, and then we had the blood moon on 3rd of March, so we are also fulfilling that pattern right now. Then moving on to the moon and the constellations. So of course the 31st of May is full moon, it is the blood moon, it is the second full moon of May, and is the 13th full moon of the year. And this number 13 I'll come back to in just a second. But first, if the full moon started the month, Then the 14th day of unleavened bread of Passover 2, because it's 14 days in the unleavened bread in the Passover 2, they would land in the end of May, hence making the 31st of May, the first day leaven could enter the world again. And that is the 8th day, basically of the last half of the unleavened bread. So there is also that connect with the Feast of Tabernacles there. And with regards to the 13th full moon, it is that the moon transit on this day, 31st of May, just before the astronomical twilight changes into the night. The moon is in Ophiuchus constellation, is the 13th constellation, and it's neglected by the world, even though the sun even spends 3 times longer in 3 times the same amount of time in Ophiuchus than Scorpio, but it's all given to the adversary. And the Scorpio will come back to in the royal stars slide as well. So now let's take the star aspects and the end aspects. So it is 30 days after the blood moon, and we don't know what happened behind the closed doors on 3-3, but that was when the Fomalhaut royal star was in conjunction, and it just happened to be a full moon, and it happened to be a blood moon on that specific day. And that in the beginning was the darkest day of the year. Fomalhaut was signifying that one. And now it's 90 days from that. The second royal star, Aldebaran in Taurus, was signifying the spring equinox. So this is the beginning of the summer. They only had 2 seasons. They didn't have spring or autumn, just winter and summer. So this star signified the beginning of summer and the beginning of end. The word for summer and end is the same if you take out the vowel points in Hebrew. And if we look at the Antares in Scorpio, that's the third royal star. This signified the autumn equinox. So the opposite side of Taurus. And this will be in opposition best viewed from Earth, so exactly the opposite side than our Sun on the 30th of May. And we'll see if something interesting happens on Saturday, but it's very close to the 31st of May. It's all pointing to this same day. And then I'll also cover the fourth royal star, which is Regulus in Leo, and this star will be in conjunction 21st of August, 9 days after the second solar eclipse, 12th of August, and 7 days before the second lunar eclipse, 28th of August this year. And then Passover 2. So when the Hebrews entered the second month of Tsiv, the sun had not even entered the first sign yet. So the sun entered Aries on the 19th of April. And even the following new moon was 2 days before that. So it is very much plausible that the year should have started 1 new moon later. And this would mean that the second month would have started on this Rosh Chodesh on Sunday, May 17th. And that would be also plausible because the sun entered the second sign a couple of days before that. So if we take this 14th of Ziv, Passover 2, that would land on May 31st. So if we started the year 1 new moon later, that would mean that the celebration of Passover 2 would land on May 31st. And why is Passover 2 so significant? Well, the whole reason for having Passover 2, look at numbers 9, 10 to 11. If someone becomes unclean because of a dead person, maybe burial, accident, or then a soldier, or is on a distant journey, then they have a second chance, the second month, on the 14th day at twilight to celebrate. the Passover. And why is this connected to the rapture? Well, we can look at Matthew 25, Mark 13, or Luke 20. All these parables are talking about a man that goes on a journey, and maybe he's coming back from that distant journey to celebrate the second Passover. Jesus fulfilled Passover 1 in flesh, being first fruits from the dead on the day 3. Maybe he's coming back to fulfill Passover 2 with us from that distant journey, like in these parables. And then in Proverbs 7:20, he has taken a bag of money with him. At the full moon he will come home. So that's why the full moon of May 31st in Jerusalem time, it'll be the brightest 11:25 a.m. So that is still the 30th of Hebrew day. And that's why the second day is 31st. I mean, this night is the only one that fits. The night between 31st of May and 1st of June. So let me conclude. Omer count according to these scenes, 31st of May is the 15th of Sivan. That makes it Shavuot and Pentecost Sunday. If you're in the boat that we should have started the year one new moon later, welcome, join us in this boat. 31st of May is the 14th day of second month, so that makes it Passover too. If you think we should forget the moon, only focus on the sun, join us. 31st of May is the 16th day of the second month, which makes it the appointed time of first fruits. If you think the month should start on the full moon, join us. 31st of May is the 1st of Sivan, one day after the unleavened bread, making it the 8th day of Passover too, and the 11 can start to enter the world very close to this moment. If we look at the royal stars, Aldebaran, if you look at the clock idiom in my earlier videos, this was, if you take the clock, then spring equinox is the 6 a.m. moment, still when the night ends, end of the night watches, and the bridegroom will come midnight hour or in the twilight, like in Proverbs, will come at full moon, and we should celebrate Passover too at twilight. This royal star that signified the spring equinox in the beginning is in conjunction perfectly behind the sun, signifying the start of summer, so the start of the end on 31st of May. Antares, the other royal star, which signified the start of the winter, is from the adversary's point of view. That is in opposition, best viewed on the 30th of May. Let's see what happens in the world on that Saturday, this week. And then finally, flood started on Ziv 17th of the second month. So, looking at these different ways of coming to this, 31st of May is the 14th, is the 15th, is the 16th, so the June 1st is the 17th day. Is that when the flood starts? Please join to the live stream if you can. If you find this information useful, please like and share. Thank you.